Lately, it feels like every dollar in our pocket is stretched thin. From clothes that get thinner and cheaper feeling by the day, to subscription costs slowly creeping higher and higher over time. Spotify, Netflix, you name it. The commodification of every little corner of our brain leaves me feeling blasted from all angles by videos, social posts, notifications, emails, and so on. Needless to say, we're kind of stressed out with the current state of tech. It's expensive, it's homogenized, yet so necessary. So where do we turn for relief? At US Mobile, we stand for delivering value without compromise. It's not strictly utilitarian, it's about connecting with what matters in the way you deserve. That's why I'm so excited for today's review of the Nothing Phone 2A. At $350 USD, this mid-range smartphone hits close to home for us. Let's dive in and cover everything you need to know about the Nothing Phone 2A. Do you feel bombarded by all the same old too? Flatness, minimalism, there's so much sameness, and even regulation and restriction on customization from the companies making the devices we use every day. I love that nothing dares to question the status quo. They offer a toolset with a lot of character. Holding the Phone 2A, it strikes you. Affordable can still feel premium. With its milky white plastic frame and a slightly hazy plastic back, it harks back to the cool tech of the 2000s. A time when plastic was totally acceptable. It's slick, shiny, and feels close enough to glass that you wouldn't think twice about it. It makes me feel like we've just become conditioned to expect these over-the-top material builds for no great reason. In fact, some of the materials in phones now feel oddly engineered to shatter. But it's not just about looks. The Nothing Phone 2A delivers on what most users crave. A big display with a high refresh rate, HDR support, USB-C, and double 50 megapixel lenses for versatile photography. A pocketable camera is your window to the world. Here's how the main cam looks. And now check out the ultra wide. Here's how video looks and sounds and moves. If you wanted, you could walk around, get some vlogging done. Stabilization's actually pretty impressive. As far as display goes, HDR gets the job done well, although it is missing the same detail and richness as the options that cost $800 more. 120 Hz refresh rate is the pinnacle, and it runs super smooth. I conducted an audio test to give you an impression of what the speakers sound like on this phone compared to some of the highest end on the market, being the newest iPhone. Listen close for how it is louder, but lacks some of the punch in the low end and gets a little bit noisy and muddy in the mid-range. Plus, the stereo image is less refined, but still completely usable. And with everyone and their mama walking around with Bluetooth earbuds in these days, isn't a loudspeaker on a phone really what you're looking for when you go to buy it? Some of the biggest controversy about this phone is the chipset. They've gone with the MediaTek chip rather than a Qualcomm Snapdragon top-of-the-line flagship chip. That's also why it's so cheap. Of all the things you do on your smartphone, when's the last time you required a flagship chip to get the job done? If you're looking for a smartphone that does most smartphone things perfectly, then you've come to the right place. I think price creep on devices across the market is because of pushing for the most RAM, the best, most amazing benchmark chipset, but I'm gonna go ahead and say it that having that much meat on the bones really only supports a few edge cases. I guess the first one being bragging rights to your friends, and probably people on Reddit. Things like hardcore emulation, multitasking with super intensive apps, and editing full-size photos and videos, I think is like the extent to what you actually get from a $1,000 phone versus this one. So yeah, rest assured, it's a smartphone that feels great to use. I mean, with the display you've got going on here, the battery life that you have, you just can't complain. This phone is $350, and with the chip it has, maybe you are ruling out some of those premium edge cases, but it's also not a $100 like shit droid that doesn't do anything right. Let's just say this, it's not gonna stutter just from scrolling through a web page or through your contacts.
So if you've made it this far into the video, you're probably close to pulling the trigger, or at least thinking about it. If you're here in the US, you can get the phone through the developer program on Nothing's website. What you do is send them an email, they'll follow up, purchase the device. Now, because it's a European device, you're not necessarily going to get the best connectivity here in the US. On US Mobile's GSM network, things were pretty much flawless for me. really good speeds. Our customer support team is still working on what we can do to get you guys connected on Warp as well. So keep it locked with us on Reddit and our socials, and we'll follow up with more info.
Obviously, there's so much to love with this phone's design. The glyph has been downsized in this budget rendition, and with that, really no functionality is lost. And hey, you might even like this design better. The dual cameras really look like eyes on the phone, but I think it brings it life and character. At US Mobile, that's what we strive for. It's all about taking tech, or even intangible parts of tech, and bringing life into it so that you can feel connected through it. You'd be a pretty good fit for a collab, right? Now, the UI here is running on Android with Nothing OS 2.5, and this is Nothing's signature. It's getting better and better, evolving over time. Look back at my past reviews of Nothing devices and you'll see the differences that have been made. Clever touches like the screen time widget and the dotted back arrow keep the experience immersive. Overall, this vibe is a testament that innovation doesn't have to shout to be heard. Once again, Nothing is back with more than a device, it's a statement. A statement that innovation, quality, and character don't have to be reserved for the high-end luxury consumer. So here's to breaking the mold for value and character to be over price tags and prestige. The Nothing Phone 2A might be the start of something new. The bar has been raised, and now it's time for the other budget manufacturers to react. It's your move. I've been Anthony Cinco with US Mobile. Thanks for joining me for this review. And remember, in a world full of noise, finding your signal is what matters most. Happy connecting.